EDG finally able to take a Game 1 win. I say finally, but most of their losses have been 1-2s, and most of their wins have been in Game 1. Welcome back, everyone. Now is the chance. We saw some tape. We saw an opportunity where they picked themselves a better draft. They played around the 5v5. They were able to play around the objectives, except for when they got outplayed by the four-man Rise Realm Warp. Can they do it again and give us the 2-0? Can they prove us wrong with results and show that, yes, they have diagnosed the problem and they are taking active steps to a solution? Or will we see yet another loss, another Game 3?
For me, if EDG are able to do what they're drafted in Game 1, they have this series on lockdown.
Yeah.
And the two things that they managed to do is, number one, win the bot lane convincingly with their picks. You know, Mystic is the main carry on the side of WE. If he's having a bad start of the game, that means WE is going to have a very, very slow type of tempo, very grinding. So winning that bot lane is incredibly important for EDG, always has been. And number two is if they have the high ground in terms of the 5v5.
Yeah.
Again, taking away identity for WE, and it really avoids a lot of the problems that EDG recently have been having. So, you know, just get those two things down in draft, you should be good.
Yeah, it seems like EDG did their homework coming into this, as there was the Xayah ban on blue side from EDG within the first 3. So they knew right away, we're going to take Varus. If he takes Kog'Maw, then our all-in is just so much stronger, which means he's probably going to take that Ezreal, and we can just pick the Varus on that opposite side. So we'll see once again coming into this next round what's going to happen in this Game 2 if EDG once again ban out the bottom side to try to limit Mystic's champion pool, because WE have side selection coming into this. So the pace of things could change. I'm a bit curious to see what the teams actually decide to choose, because EDG's losses largely have been on blue side. So I'm curious if WE will choose red
They
and once
pick blue
again
side
give it
most
over.
of the time. WE themselves are kind of a weird team because they have very limited champion pools, so red side doesn't actually mean a lot to them. If you look at their recent games, it's been Cho'Gath, Cho'Gath for 957. Of course, excluding the last game where Cho'Gath was taken away. So WE don't really get that much out of red side either. So it's an interesting situation. I think the biggest adaptation I want to see out from WE is go back to their teamfight style. I really think that this team needs the 5v5 strength to win anything. Like, that's their bread and butter. That's their biggest point of strength on the map, and they need to have that high ground. And talking about the 5v5, I actually think this is a great meta coming in for Mystic, because a lot of the hyper carries have been buffed.
They're coming back.
Yeah, we've seen Caitlyn be a viable pick.
Jinx, Sivir, Twitch
Tristana
got buffs,
especially as well. You know, that was a massive buff on Tristana, giving her 20 extra attack speed level 1 with that Q. So, you know, I just want to see them maybe go for that, build a team composition around that, and take that strength back on their own team.
We've already seen Mystic. He's proven that he's playing at the top of his game right now. This is the Mystic that went to semifinals. This is the Mystic that we've been looking for so long. When Xie was playing his heart out in Spring Split, Mystic seemed to be missing. Well, now as we're getting closer to playoffs, as we're getting closer to that Worlds cutoff for Team WE, finally he's kicked it into gear. But is it in time, or is it too late for this team? If WE lose this, they will not be eliminated yet, but I believe if they lose 2, then they're done.
It's really hard. WE are currently sitting in the last place in their own conference. They were still a playoff team in spring, but coming into this split, they've had so many iterations of their rosters. Nothing seemed to be nailed down. And only at the very bottom of the split, I would say after cross-conference, have they really decided to kind of stick with this roster. And, you know, today even they should change their roster once again. So I should throw out the stick with the roster part. They just got Ben back. At least we are seeing some questions being answered, and that is Ben and Mystic can still perform at a very high level. They're still a good duo. We haven't seen them win lane yet, and that's the kind of the reason that Ben was sidelined earlier into the split. He had a lot of difficulties actually winning lane as a 2v2, but in terms of the team fight, they look fine.
And it's exactly those members that you were talking about in that team fight, 957, Xie, Mystic, and Ben, who are just maneuvering like tacticians, absolutely brilliant positions around these fights, excluding, of course, the one setup that they had around the Dragon, where Scout and Highboy were over the wall and were just able to blast down from the high ground. But that more comes down to vision and taking, like you said, that lost cause fallacy. Oh, we've lost the Dragon, now we should try to take a fight.
Yeah, that was
not
a bit
the greatest
weird
idea. So Still, there is a lot of opportunity for WE to try to come back in this series, as they have identified EDG's weaknesses and have successfully played around them in Game 1, just not able to close the close the game out. Can they do that in Game 2, though?
Want to see them drop the Evelynn ban and just take out Cho'Gath. Because Cho'Gath is pretty much the only pick that we've seen EDG consistently be successful on. It enables their team fight. They don't need to worry about the side lanes, and Ray is a great Cho'Gath player. So if they can just do that, it's actually pretty difficult to think about what Ray would really pick up. I think it would force him onto something that's much more risky.
I mean, we'll absolutely see, right? If we get to see Ray on a split pusher, then that could open it up. The Evelynn is once again banned, as is the Tahm Kench. That does mean Rakan becomes the early priority for Mako. Less about protecting the carry, more about setting it up. And look at EDG. Look at how much they're respecting Mystic right now. The Ezreal and the Xayah ban. EDG are not playing around with this bottom lane.
Now, the Xayah is the interesting one for me, because they definitely thought about having the first pick Rakan to go into this.
Oh, and WE. They waste no time mincing words. They say, all right, you want to target the bottom lane? Kai'Sa.
It's fine.
We'll
lose the bottom lane. It's okay. See you in 35.
Yeah. Like you said, that Varus is still back up for iBoy. We'll see if he decides to return to it, or if he takes something a bit more dominant to try and answer back, because now, as we get to this next pick and ban, the Gnar has been banned away from 957, and Camille is looked at as Pepper makes his return in this game too.
So I like the way Pepper is thinking about things. He's still going to go for the hyper-aggressive jungler, and we could see his pathing in Game 1. He's definitely smart enough to surprise Clearlove. Clearlove did not anticipate any of those early ganks coming into the mid lane, and with something like the Camille, he could pick a Rise with Xie once more and have a very strong ganking duo. So W are thinking, late game teamfight, we have the Kai'Sa insurance. Early game laning, we can snowball Xie. We have the Camille to do it.
I mean, I'd love to see if Xie finds his way onto an early game laner.
Surprise!
As that Rise is open, yeah, there's the Varus. iBoy doing his best SMLZ impression. That does mean that the support will be prioritized as WE look towards their bottom lane. Both teams playing the exact same strategy. Pick up bottom lane, pick up jungle. Though we do know that Gragas can be flexed towards top. WE...
Oh, I like the Alistar here. Typically, we do see the Morgana being the one picked here. It is considered more of a hard counter. You can't really get anyone with the ultimate, the quickness coming out from Rakan, but Alistar also has more offensive opportunities. You can go all in on the Varus. He doesn't have any mobility whatsoever. So there's a bit of change in WE's draft this time around. It's that they actually have decent kill pressure with their jungler. That wasn't the case in Game 1. Ezreal, Braum, they're going to play purely defensively, but this time around, I actually feel like they could try and attempt to snowball EDG from the bot side.
We'll see how they do that, how they set up Scout as, again, double mid lane ban. Zoe and Rise taken away from Scout. Even he's looking a little confused.
Yeah, that was a great takeaway there, because they banned EDG banned the LeBlanc. They signaled they want to go for the Zoe themselves. LeBlanc is considered a very hard counter in the LPL to Zoe. So once LeBlanc was off the table, they were like, okay, take Zoe on as well. Don't let Scout get Zoe, which I think is a great choice. He's probably the best Zoe player we have in the LPL.
So the camera's on 957 right now. If we're looking to see Xie get counterpicked against Scout, which would absolutely help if WE decide to play a snowball mid-style like they almost set up in Game 1, they would look for top lane right now, but they pick Galio and save counterpick for 957. Clement.
Galio's fine.
Okay.
Galio's fine.
It is the Galio Camille, and that is such good zone control for Kai'Sa.
Basically, EDG's composition right now, they're kind of lacking in terms of the super late game. Like, Gragas doesn't do a lot. Rakan versus Alistar, the later that goes, and the more into favor the Alistar becomes. So what W are looking for in their mid lane, they're just looking to hold on and then go super late. So I actually like WE's Galio pick right here. There's nothing that really hard counters it. You know, we've seen some quirky here and there, but it's pretty difficult to play up against.
And EDG looks like they're going to take another 5-stack composition. as Orianna is the last look at for Scout against the Galio. That would match the wave clear pretty effectively. As you can see, even the coach of EDG is looking pretty nervous.
I understand the Trundle and Orianna pick. So these two picks are used to punish the mid lane. Galio has a lot of problems with Trundle because he can't actually E through the pillar. It's considered terrain. So it's a grounded ability coming out from the Galio E. You can't get over that. It's a very strong punishing duo. But at the same time, it really lacks priority. That's my problem here with EDG's composition. Their jungler and their mid laners can't really start the fights for them. It's going to be on the rest of the members, and then they are playing this early game type of tempo composition where they do have to look for a lot more action themselves.
Well, that could be iBoy, flash Chains of Corruption in. We've seen it before. I don't doubt we'll see it again, but WE, look at that.
It's Worlds,
setup.
baby!
That is, you're exactly right. The only difference is
Kai'Sa.
Kai'Sa, and of course Kandi's Lee Sin is missing.
This is pretty much what WE ran at Worlds. It looks incredibly similar. The only change here is it's not Caitlyn, it will be the Kai'Sa, but the theory is the same. You have a lot of frontline distraction, you have a lot of frontline engage and protection coming out, and you have a lot of room for the Kai'Sa to do damage.
WE, they say, all right, you're going to take a 5v5, a 5-stack composition in game 1. We'll do that ourselves, except we'll have better scaling and stronger tanks and a lot more gank assist off of all of that. WE, they are absolutely playing their heart outs in front of the hometown fans. They've only been able to take a bow in the stadium twice out of their 3 victories, as their last win was still away before that. And Team WE, they're looking for the chance to do it once again, but they'll have to bring us to a game 3 against EDG.
I really like WE's composition this time around. They have so much focus onto Orianna in terms of team fights. It's going to be so hard for Scout to actually stay alive here. And they do have, in my opinion, the better 5v5 edge. They have so much room for the Kai'Sa to operate around. And EDG, they're going back to their old tactics. They do have to push their bot lane advantage very, very hard.
They do have the Rakan, they've got that Varus, Trundle with excellent gank assist as well. Like you said, can set up that mid and bottom lane if they decide to play towards that, as it seems like we're returning back towards the old meta, the team fight, the stack up and snowball bottom. But as we prepare to load onto the Rift, you could hear how passionate the fans were for these two massive organizations in game 1. Now we get the chance to hear them once again as Team WE, chasing down their playoff spot, will look for a rematch against Edward Gaming. Now it should be noted, even if WE win this series, with EDG's game 1 win, and assuming a best case scenario for Team WE, it is now impossible for WE to take 3rd. As even if EDG lose all of their games and the rest of the stats play out, EDG will own the head-to-head as they were 2-0 against Team WE. So even if WE win and tie them in standings, they will not be able to tie them in game time and games.
Look, if WE can take 4th, they're laughing to themselves. They don't really deserve 3rd. Not with the 20% series win rate.
Oh yeah,
so,
at least not right now. Mystic is stepping up so far and taking so much harass from iBoy. He's got the Dorian shield and he has Ben with Triumph and the Targons to start healing him up in lane, but already you can see the Varus range advantage against that Kai'Sa.
Yep, he saw that there was no W coming out from Mako, and he was willing to step up and take the trade, of course taking press the attack, which is a bit rare when you're going up against a Varus lane. Most of the time we would see
Clean footwork for sustain.
Yeah, just to hang in there, but Mystic, he's paying the price right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Forced to use that potion right away. And Clear Love is even on the bottom side of the map. Red buff to bottom side Scuttle Crab. No chicanery, no shenaniganery.
I really like
WE, and they're even setting up a dive here. That's the piercing arrow.
I think Mystic's a bit too healthy for this, so probably not going to happen. But The idea of Clear Love is that he's going to lock this bot lane down. It's already pushing on EDG's side, and it is a very gankable lane for WE. So you want as much vision there. Vertical jungle, I think, completely suits their interest. In WE's favor, I wouldn't say so much. It's really hard to actually punish the top side of Gragas, where he can just Q the wave. But in comparison, I feel like WE is going to lose a lot of minions just on their tower.
I mean, we can already see Pepper is trying to get that vertical jungle as he steals away the blue buff to match Clear Love. But just the wave imbalance, the threat of Varus Rakan in lane is so much, especially with Ignite on that Mako Rakan. And Clear Love still hovering on this side of the jungle. If WE, they showed their cards very early by saying, we're going to take an all Kai'Sa composition, triple zone control plus Alistar disengage, and then a Kai'Sa. And EDG say, great, we're going to camp bottom. And suddenly WE find themselves at a bit of a lack for words.
Yeah, I have to say this has been W's biggest weakness so far, is that they're just so inflexible in draft. You can never let them win bot.
Oops. Ooh, immediate flash away. That's the pillar, and suddenly that lane's about to get a little bit worse. They did not spot Pepper, but his jungle's already been cleared on this side.
The question here is the wave pushing out for WE or not? It does look like it's pushing out, so...
I can't see the minions on the bottom half.
Yeah.
I have to assume that there are 3 because they wouldn't be able to get up to it.
Very hairy situation.
5-2, it's getting close. Ooh, that piercing arrow missed. Pepper's still hanging around over here.
The jungler is definitely there. Like, there's no way iBoy doesn't know this.
That's the Guardian.
Mystic
Still
walks up
Pepper's
to
hovering.
you with 300 HP. Pepper is in the bot side.
That is going to push the wave back out. Though, like you said, it is a wave advantage for EDG, slowly pushing in. And Mystic, is he trying to hard push here? There he goes. He's still zoning it away. EDG are playing so respectful. Now it's just the mind game from Mystic. He's feigning that Pepper is still here, which is buying him some time and equalizing the CS a little bit, but it's still 9 CS advantage for iBoy.
Yep, I like how EDG is playing this lane out. If you notice in the river, they did see the ward being dropped down. So they know that Camille was just close to that area. They're giving respect to the Alistar-Camille combination. And, you know, once they find out where Pepper is on the map, then they can go in and try to punish even harder.
Still, Pepper is playing around Vision as Xie will get the chance to teleport back into mid lane. Did he buy anything? Stopwatch, I suppose?
I don't think
He's
buy stuff.
got the Dark Seal. Oh, he's got the Dark Seal's 450, not 350. That's right. So, Dark Seal start, and that refillable, just to keep him in lane against the constant push of that Orianna.
Yeah. We've seen Rookie play this lane out, and it's actually very punishing early on for the Galio.
Yeah.
The Orianna can just kind of zone him from waves, but it does kind of get better. In the end, your Galio, you have a lot of MR resistance. You might not be able to leave lane level 3, level 4, but
eventually you get the resistance.
yeah.
But
you get it from AP as well, so...
Yeah. For now, he's just sitting in that lane and trying to soak. Even Scout is building anti-resistance as it's Sork boots first for early rotations to follow up on the jungle. He knows he'll have push pressure very early on. That's the recall. Straight into a catalyst for Xie and Boots. Knows that he's got to try to match that Orianna as best he can.
I think the big thing about this fight when it comes to the 5v5 is that Ray is going to have to play defensive for his backline carries. He's fighting against a Cannonball and a Camille going up against double immobile carries. So it's a very tough scenario for EDG to actually handle correctly. And that's the thing I like about W's composition. They don't even have to wait to the super late game. They do have that priority in the mid game to start making those big plays. And they're not particularly hard to do. Cannonball is what the LPL is known for.
Yeah. Especially if they can get Mystic some items, but he's still down in CS, though EDG will get the chance to take that Dragon early on. The baton is just about ready for Team WE, but it's still on the way. Xie trying to walk away from this. Like you said, that pillar of ice, so easy at keeping Galio locked into place, but Pepper is there on the counter gank, though he is spotted.
If that would be a situation... Ooh, Mystic really low.
Look at the damage that's coming out there. Mystic is actually still stepping forward. Double flash from Mako and iBoy, because they did see that Pepper was roaming down from the river, still hanging out in Tribush.
So Mystic actually taking most of the damage, but taking out 2 flashes from EDG is so valuable when you're running with the Galio as well. And now we see Xie coming down to the bot side. It is a 4v3.
Yeah, that Hero's Entrance is ready. Scout with the Mia ping. He's backing out as well, hovering by the Raptor camp as Mystic and Ben, along with Pepper, deny some of these minions to iBoy. but they will be escorted by Clear Love to safety. When it's all said and done, nobody dies, but Pepper's still thinking about it.
Mystic is so lucky to get away with this lane with the Prusty attack build. It's not a normal situation, but Pepper has been shadowing forever.
He's still down here, constantly playing in and out of vision. You can see all the Mia pings. I'm not sure if Pepper is spotted by the minion wave or Mako. Even Xie is still hovering down onto this side. He's going mid, pushing the wave, clearing it as quick as he can, and then hovering bottom. As we do hit the 8-minute mark and stopwatches come online.
We have to remember there are no stopwatches in the bot lane and no flashes either. So I think W could make a very easy play here is try to force out the mid lane, make sure they have priority for Xie, and then instantly go bot. It's actually very hard for EDG to outplay this.
That bottom lane is just so tense between Mystic and iBoy. These two players are just playing their hearts out on the stage against each other, and the entire team, all remaining 8 players know it and are constantly hovering on, okay, do we teleport? Do we Winds of War and Grand Entrance in? How do we set this bottom lane up so that our AD carry can win?
EDG love this play as well. They're known as a team that goes down with a 4-man. But Xie currently has so much control over the mid lane. He has a Catalyst against Sork Boot advantage, also has the blue buff earlier. So the question now is actually left up to Clear Love. How does he defend the bot side?
So far, he's been hovering the bottom side of the map for 4 minutes, he took his blue buff, or sorry, he had his blue buff taken, and actually, you're right, with the vertical jungle, he hasn't really gotten the chance to go to his own top side of the map, but for a few camps here and there.
It's such a tough scenario because if they go top, then that opens up the bot side completely. They did do it in a, I think, pretty smart fashion. They did understand that Xie should be going back. They didn't see him, but they understood the timing should be okay for them to do it. So they do find a little bit of a window in this tense situation to get themselves the blue and equalize the push pressure.
It does give a lot more sustain to that Orianna and buy some more time, as Xie with his own blue buff as passed over by Pepper. Just steps up and clears the wave and just continues to shadow this bottom side. Still no teleport available for Ray and 957, but
Look
Pepper...
at the bot side. Both teams are pinging on the same exact position. They want to make that play already.
Oh, take a look at this. 957 was spotted on a Scuttle Crab hovering towards that mid lane. Let's see if Mystic decides to back up and open some room for 957 to look for a gank mid or maybe get a counter gank from Xie, but no. EDG just sit back. They're absorbing the pressure. They're absorbing the threat of this dive and perhaps calling the bluff of WE. Question is, this isn't going to be a bluff for always. It's a Camille, Galio, Jarvan. That dive is going to happen eventually. Oh, Shockwave does pull Xie back in. He does land the shield of Duran, and Pepper is on Scout in the back. That's the Hextech ultimatum. That's the hero's entrance. Pepper pulled back in as Scout goes golden. That's the cask, and Mako joins the fight. Ray gets first blood as the Bring It On. Ben joins the fight along with the teleport from iBoy to follow up. It's 2 kills as WE overcommit just a little bit too much and give a triple kill over to Scout.
And through all of that, EDG find their own window to get their top lane moving into the fight first. The 2v2 have been staring at each other forever, but no one was about to pull the trigger. Ray comes in from the top side. Great coordination for EDG. Mako is also in faster because of their winning bot lane, and they're able to defuse the situation perfectly. WE don't find their 4-man dive onto the bot lane, where they don't have any flashes on EDG.
Here we get to see that play again. Scout finds the opening. Like you said, Ray gets the roam first.
Yeah, and it's just so hard for Xie to actually maneuver away from this situation. Pepper commits. The bot lane from EDG is already flanking him, and Mako comes in and in the nick of time to make sure that there's no way Xie can get out of this.
Like we said, iBoy with the teleport was able to get to the fight at about the same time of Mystic, even had the time to catch the wave that was pushed in bottom by Mystic. So that does mean that EDG find the kills and get put themselves on the board. All of that gold will get funneled onto Scout. He's finished that very early Ludens, and he still has those very early boots too as well, so we could see a rotation style play from EDG around Scout, as he is constantly pushing into Xie here. Uh-oh, looking for a little bit more. Wow. The Ludens proc and the burn. The burn! Oh.
Well, Xie definitely felt the burn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow, Xie is able to survive. Meanwhile, Pepper is using this window to take the Rift Herald, but he's taking some big hits.
Doesn't matter. No one's here.
looks to walk into the pit and finish it off. Smite is ready for Pepper, but like you said, WE play inside of the vision and are able to pick it up.
That's actually pretty smart from Pepper. His #1 goal is actually just to remain unseen. If he isn't seen, then EDG can't really push onto their top tower, and we're seeing that Pepper, instead of like going towards the bot side, trying to help his bot lane out, he's just remaining outside of vision. He knows that that's enough to kind of keep them safe.
It's the threat of the Camille being there, the
Yep.
hookshot ultimatum, not the actual hookshot ultimatum, as we've clearly just seen in the mid lane, as EDG were able to respond first.
EDG are just the faster team in these early game scenarios. We've been saying this a lot in the game 1 as well, but EDG, their early game is actually fine. It's the 20 to 25 minutes is where they really start to collapse and fall on their faces, but not now.
Yeah, now they're turning onto the blue buff of Shie, stealing that away, while Scout has his own. So already with the kill advantage and gold advantage, and now with the blue buff advantage, makes that mid lane a little bit less enticing for Pepper and keeps Shie in place, which in turn keeps the bottom lane safe. It's just a whole domino effect that sets up EDG to get through this laning phase nice and safely. And even Clearlove, taking the second dragon of the game, EDG have just been controlling the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, they're just allocating their players in a much better fashion. You can see in the top side, Ray knows that 957 is pushing in. He backs off immediately. They're getting something in the bot side. He doesn't need to play risky top at all.
No,
Oh,
Rift
great
Arrow
charge.
not able to get the charge as she aggroes onto the minions. Cast even used to try and disrupt it, but the charge doesn't break the turret because it is so delayed, and Ray is able to hold it and deny.
Good move by Ray there, playing safe at first, and then taking a bit of HP away, making sure that there is no second charge coming out.
Pepper is starting to take some damage from Scout, who is happily controlling this mid lane.
Pepper is really far behind in his build at this point. Usually Camille is considered a very snowball-y type of pit. If you don't win early, you're gonna have to go Guardians Angels first.
We'll see what that's going to be as now. Again, it's the same strategy, it's the same song and dance for EDG.
Scout moving down.
4-stack bottom. He's got a Cloud Dragon plus the Dissonance cooldown. No problem.
Look at that
Races
vision
down
highway.
there. And tier 1 goes down. EDG take first brick, split the gold amongst 3, and Mystic will try to catch this wave. And with the top tier 1 not taken, that does mean that WE will have a more difficult time trying to retaliate if they want to move Pepper and Shie to follow up on the inevitable Mystic and Ben swap to the top side. Because already we can see the recall out of EDG. Boys heading mid and top. Same plan, same strategy. We talked about it game 1. WE know that this is happening, and they're actually going to push this wave in.
Wave push is incredibly important because they're buying time for their bot lane to actually rotate to this position. So good job on 957. We'll delay things going down.
He's still hanging out up here. They could be setting a trap. WE, they could be setting a trap.
Do EDG fall for it, though?
Do EDG. I think we should be asking, does iBoy?
Oh, iBoy
Because if it's just iBoy, absolutely, the piercing arrow.
Is that
He
iBoy?
knows. Oh. He's been spending a lot of time at the Genius Bar. Still stepping up with the hail of arrows. Recall started and canceled.
They see the players up
Pepper
there.
is still there. With 957 showing himself, I think they assumed it was one person. Finally, Pepper will be scouted out by Mako.
Yeah, that was a really good face check by EDG. So iBoy steps very far back and lets Mako do the dirty work. Mako can still use the E to get out of a bad situation, and they take down the mid. Great rotation coming out from EDG. Unexpected play from iBoy.
That's the tactical decision-making that EDG were so known for. But it's off of iBoy not face-checking a bush. Ooh.
I'm truly surprised.
We're watching him grow. We're seeing iBoy grow into a I-adolescent.
Sounds a lot less cute, which is
doesn't.
what iBoy
I-teenager?
is really concerned about. You know,
Yeah.
his image is being the cute boy. That's why
okay,
his name is iBoy. I'm not sure I-adolescent sounds as good.
It doesn't quite roll off the tongue, no. But at this point, he's got multiple personas. He's got iBoy, he's got iBait. But EDG, they set up a 4-man stack to dive. They find Ben, uses the Unbreakable Will, but already dies to iBoy. Pepper Goes in and out, teleport started and canceled as WE decide to back away from the 4-stack. Xie is being zoned away by Ray on the far side. That does mean 957 is split pushing bottom, and with his teleport canceled, can't do anything about it.
That was a very slow reaction from Ben. I believe he should have popped his ultimate as soon as that damage started to pile onto him, but he's going to give up the tower for his mistake. And I really like the way EDG is playing this out. They actually had a 4-man stack. W, like we said, had very good engage. They had the cannonball composition. Whenever EDG is sieging, they have to feel very threatened by that combination. And to answer it, they just say, okay, we're moving every single piece on the map to this position.
And that's the strategy from EDG. Break down bottom turret to unlock iBoy. Use iBoy to break down the tier 2, and once that, or sorry, the second outer turret. Once that's down, pick up and move him to the next one. Open up the map so that by 23 minutes, you've got all 3 outers down. You can control the Baron and play that tempo and control style.
And they're doing really well. 5K before 20 minutes is, I would say, a gold standard for snowballing a game.
Yeah.
They don't have the best breaks, but with that type of gold lead, they can now just straight walk into WE's jungle and start making traps for WE.
Things looking a little bit dire for Team WE as they are losing ground. Oh, that's right, they already broke the mid-tier 1 with Scout and Clearlove spotting out Pepper and 957 on the top side of the map.
Just out-rotated here. 957 is going to walk into a world of pain if he goes any further.
Oh boy, I mean, EDG, we saw what happens when they could snowball their composition a little bit in game 1, getting towards those 6 items, but this time they're running a similar strategy, but they've already broken down the tier 1s. They're already setting up vision control. As long as they don't do anything reckless, like look for a dive onto a tier 2 or over-invest in a side lane, then they'll be okay.
But you have to do something reckless. Reckless, he's been unbenched. I'm sorry.
I saw it coming, and I couldn't stop it.
My apologies. But, you know, with their gold lead, there's a lot of things that you can just brute force.
Yeah.
So EDG, they're just very comfortable walking into the enemy jungle. They're taking over the entire map. The question for WE is, how can they hold on even further? Because there's going to be a point where EDG are going to set up on that Baron. They're probably still going to have that 5K gold lead. And Kai'Sa's going to be sitting on 1 item. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, just the Stormrazor completed. It's great in lane. It's great for short skirmishes. Not so great around team fights. Getting the passive proc on the Stormrazor doesn't exactly entice Kai'Sa to wait. What is it, 1.5 seconds between auto attacks? That's not what she wants to do.
That's a bit more than that. It does go down with attack speed, of course. I believe it's like 2.2 at the start of the Stormrazors. But you're absolutely correct. Like, the Stormrazor is much better as a laning item for Kai'Sa. Typically, when we see the AD build out from Kai'Sa,
teleport.
he's still going to attack speed.
Speaking of Kai'Sa, EDG, they collapse. Ben uses the Unbreakable Will to stall it out. They're still walking this across, and Mystic tries to get the reset, but Mako locks him down with the Flash Quickness Grand Entrance. Another 2 kills to Scout at 5-0-1 as the Baron spawns.
And that's absolute disaster for WE. EDG's plan there was no farm for Mystic. We're not going to let him grow up and be that hyper carry like he did in game 1. So once the top wave was pushing in, they went there and they cut it off. They say, we're not going to get any CS on your side.
Pepper, he's still trying to sneak around the vision here. It may not be Son of Baron, but he's on the same team. Is the trait transitive? It is not. He backs away, and EDG 6-0 take the Baron 21.5 minutes in.
Absolutely dominating performance for them right now, and what they can transition this into is to set up straight sieges. They're going to have massive minion waves, so when W does try to cannonball onto them, they're going to get a lot of help.
Absolutely going to be a very scary push, and that might be something that WE struggle with a little bit. They've got some pretty moderate wave clear with the Kai'Sa and the Galio, but the moment that Baron buff shows up on the minions, it is going to be so hard to shred through the minions' health. So we do see 2 items completed on Xie. He's got himself these Zanyas, and they still have the composition if they can wait this out. If they can be the WE of old, then they can look for the late game 5v5 with that massive zone control setup. But right now, EDG are just snowballing off of this laning phase advantage. The mid-tier 2 pushed with the very first wave off the back of that Baron, and it goes down.
WE knows that they just can't contest this. Look at what they're doing. They're trading farm in the top side for that tower. Of course, Mako doing the face checking, and they're still going in.
Oh, Ben steps up. That's going to be Pepper pinned to the wall. 957 looking for the cast. As they set up the AoE, Mystic, he's got them all lined up. The AoE is stacked. As you said, the 4-man, but the 2 tanks are already dead. Mystic, does he have enough damage without the Gwinsus? Finds himself the first kill on the Mako, but that was only the squishy support. He's trying to kite it out, trying to look for the opening. Killer Instinct in, but the pillar, he flashes back. The chase, it goes down. The triple kill, the quadra kill. And going to be picked up by Scout. The thumbs up off the back of the ace, and EDG running forward. Even the thumbs up from Mystic's corpse, because he knows what's what. This is the EDG that has been missing from the LPL. It's been 3 weeks since they've taken a series win, 22 days, and now they are 11-1.
Such clean play coming out from EDG, just going straight in. That was a dream scenario for WE, but EDG understood that they had the gold lead, they had the AoE to match WE, and they were able to outplay. I'm sure iBoy fell down pretty early in the fight, but the main carry was Scout. Coming in once again, you see the chase coming out from EDG. I feel like WE probably overstayed a little bit. They probably didn't want the fight. They were forced into this situation, but it was a good start. It was a 4-man knockup coming in from Galio, but the AoE, the shockwave from Orianna was just as good from Scout.
Able to set that fight up, and of course the final command attack to lock it down at the very end. The middle inhibitor is already down. Still no Gwinsus from Mystic, but the Gwinsus has been finished for iBoy. 3 full items and an NLR from Scout. The rest of this game is all but a formality if EDG don't make any mistakes, as they are 9,000 gold ahead, pushing up to the next inhibitor turret with 30 seconds still on the Baron buff.
And excuse me, Varus didn't even go down that game. iBoy stayed alive through all of that crowd control. We talked about the Jarvan and Galio being such a dangerous combination to Orianna and Varus. They had no mobility whatsoever, but EDG, they weren't even forced out of their stopwatches.
Just playing the numbers game, playing the raw stats advantage, opening this map wide open, and WE, they used to be known for losing so elegantly, only giving up what they have to, but put into a desperate situation by EDG. They make a desperate play off of Ben trying to engage and are forced to take a fight that they had no chance of winning. And now this next inhibitor is about to go down as the inhibitor turret falls. iBoy sitting so far back, he knows he doesn't have flash, doesn't want to risk it, lets the tanks do all the hard work. 2 inhibs down, 25 minutes in.
Great patient play coming out from EDG. You know, iBoy definitely bears some responsibility for the losing streak that we've seen coming out from them. Over-aggression, going in when he doesn't need to, but this game, he just wants to win. He's playing as clean as possible.
Yeah, 1-0-6. And look at the KDA of Scout, 9-0-2, 100% kill participation. And you know who's with that KDA? Clearlove and Mako, but 0-0 and 11 and 0-1 and 11, with Mako being the only death that EDG have had so far in this game too. These are the 3 core members that they are playing around this time, despite playing around the bottom lane during that early laning phase. This is EDG showing us something new as the cast will find WE and get them away from this turret. The massive minion wave comes in, and Ray is forced to back up. iBoy still being so respectful on the side.
I really like that cast usage coming out from Ray. It's just to preserve his minion wave, force everyone away. They do get a simple tower out of that.
And now there's only 3 turrets left standing for WE, and 2 of those are Nexus turrets. This is looking real dire.
Sure is, and the question is, does Mystic actually have enough damage, 10k down for his team, to clean up the members of EDG? The front line looks so good, and that should really not be the case. Trundle doesn't really have a tank to use Subjugate on, and Gragas is not exactly known for being a tank champion, but it's just the gold lead propping up EDG at this point, and they're giving them the thumbs. They understand that this could very well be the last push.
Yeah, he knows. He's trying to bait Pepper out. He's still hovering on the side. even the hail of arrows to spot this out. That does separate EDG. Pepper still goes in, finds iBoy in the back. That's the grand entrance for the dive. GA pop, iBoy goes down. Mystic is able to sidestep the shockwave. He's getting some damage here. Has he got the Gwinsus? Has he got enough? He immediately cleanses it back out, kiting as best he can. Looking for Ray, but he just doesn't have enough damage. And I can't believe this WE. They might be able to win this. Knock up onto Ray. Mystic chases, needs the plasma, but doesn't get it. Turns to the minions and Scout, still firing in the back. Shie is doing some work. Scout goes down. Shie is able to lock him in place. The chase from 957. Shie even looking for more. The slow gets tagged. Winds of War, but it's not enough damage. They've lost a Nexus turret to the minions as WE finally get on the board, but they still end up having to lose ground.
But that was such a good team fight coming out from WE. They vaporize iBoy at the start of the fight. Mystic goes to the back, and they really split the focus. I think the key there was Mystic didn't have to face the wrath from Scout. Scout was pretty much locked into the top side of the fight because of the Cataclysm, and they were able to turn that. I actually feel like that team fight puts a lot of question marks into EDG's mind. Like, are we still able to push as hard as we previously did? I mean, EDG, if I were them, I would probably slow the game down and just try to take the big objectives.
Play around the Baron.
Yep.
Which has now just spawned. EDG setting up vision, looking for a pick. Shie steps up, knows that he's the tank with Pepper and Ben. 957 is sitting on teleport back in base. Mako, he's got flash, he's got quickness, he's got that grand entrance. But with minions flooding in through 3 lanes, WE have to take the high ground and defend. But if they lose this Baron, surely EDG will be able to close out on the next siege.
Crucially for EDG, they did not expend any of their summoners on their carries. Both iBoy and Scout have their flashes up, so it should be very hard to repeat what WE just did.
Pepper still not able to find the flank in the back without that flash, as you said, as the inhib goes down, and EDG playing around vision. Ward over the wall, 957 steps up, they found Pepper in the back, dies right away. Ben uses the ultimate to try to reset the Mystic stepping into the back. He's found Ray, but Ray is so tanky. Ben goes low. The flash catch.
The anticipation.
Prediction. Ray styling on Team WE. But that's Pepper and Ben dead. Mystic is still up with massive damage. He's got 2 items. Make that 3 as he finishes off the Runons.
It is a 3v5 for WE. Can they actually hold their Nexus?
They're going to try to push to end the game, going for the Nexus turret. They're playing the numbers game once again. They did it in game 1. They're doing it in game 2. Mystic is dead. Shie can't find entrance into the Cataclysm. 957 tries to reset this, but EDG have got the numbers. A double kill back over to Scout as the Nexus goes down, and EDG are victorious. 30 minutes on the clock. EDG win their first series and end their worst losing streak in the team's history.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 22 days. EDG has never suffered a losing streak this long since their inception. But you can see on their faces that no one is actually smiling. They're still very serious. There's still a chance that they drop out of playoffs, so they cannot relax themselves at this point yet.
As you said, it is all business for EDG, because they know that this match against WE was not supposed to be a close one. This was not supposed to be a toss-up coming into this. And they are well aware of this situation, though Clearlove finally cracks a smile at the end as he gets to make his way back over to his supplies and head backstage. Finally, EDG will get a reprieve.
You know, Clearlove 7, he dropped the 7 just to avoid the 7-game losing streak.
Yeah, 6-game losing streak.
Yep.
Already in one split, in 8 losses. They have doubled the total number of losses that this team has ever had in the history of the team. They have never had more than 4 losses before this, but now they're at 8-8, a 50% win rate, which most teams would die for, but EDG, this is a team where we hold to a higher standard.
Definitely, and they're still in very hot water right now. We have multiple teams, FPX and OMG, sitting at 5 wins. They could still surpass FPX just won their match today, so they should be at 6 wins, and Snake is also at 6 wins as well. So, you know, EDG's spot, even at this point, is still not secure. They still need more winning streaks to really make up for the 22-day drought that they had.
Yeah, and just to put this into perspective, EDG, the winningest team in the history of the LPL is tied with TOP Sports Gaming, the losingest team in the history of the LPL, the owners of the longest loss streak in LPL history. And again, 30 minutes on the dot, they're able to close it out. It has to be said, EDG, they need to prove us wrong with results. They're able to do it here against WE, and they get to breathe a sigh of relief for today, but they have to hold their breath once again.
What a good showing from EDG today. They fixed a lot of their problems. If you look at the champion pool that Ray has been playing, they've really limited him to play more tanks, forget about the side lane pressure that they needed in some of these compositions, and just focus on the big 5v5. Everyone come together, play the LPL style, play the all-in type of style. And can I just say, Scout has been hard carrying this team. Every single fight. Multiple members onto the shockwaves, the triple kill, then finishing the quadra kill, and just outshining Shia completely.
Yeah, massive performances on that Vel'Koz. I mean, we could even see the Orianna snowball. I would say we normally have to guess who the MVP is and try to figure that out. Well, that's pretty straightforward this time around. As what was he at the end? 9-0 and 2. Didn't die at the end and got the extra double kill, so maybe even more kills. And getting that counter pick on blue side is finally able to pay off for EDG. Now, the reason I was just so distracted right there, I was taking a look at the standings for Team WE. They are 3-13 right now. If Snake or FPX win a single game, WE are out.
Well,
there's still a chance.
I don't think they actually expect to go to playoffs at this point.
Yeah,
it's going to be so difficult.
It's a snowball's chance.
Yeah, and it's really isn't in their hands either. So they just have to take things as they come. I have to say this has been very disappointing split from WE. Condi came back. We thought it was going to be the rise of 2017 WE. They were going to be back in form. Mystic was finally shining like he did in 2017 as well. But they could never figure out their roster, and changes this late into the split really tells you their mentality. Yeah. They're looking ahead.
They're going to have to be. I mean, this is a thing that we see from teams in the LPL time and again. Vici doing the exact same thing as they were eliminated earlier a few weeks ago. But that we are comparing Team WE to Vici speaks to the woes that this organization is going through. Still, it is a good performance from EDG and Team WE in that game one. Big congratulations to Team EDG off of their victory. We're going to go and take a quick break while we get ready for our next matchup. Don't go anywhere. The LPL will be right back.
登峰造极，方可声名远扬；侠盗勇士自在威震四方。